Yesterday in Suffolk Superior Court, January 30th of 2026, Turtleboy AKA Aidan Kearney went before Judge Christopher Belizos, I think is his name. Forgive me if I've mispronounced that. This is all having to do with this witness intimidation and this Cosgrove dismissals and a mess. Before we begin, I just want you to know I'm not a lawyer. You know that, I think, already. But for those of you who are coming in to peruse the reading, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. This is what I do. I look at crime cases and I look at different individual cases. And it is very sad because this has been now held over again until March 27th. Now, the judge, in all fairness, did want to do it a little earlier, but because of Tim Bradle's schedule, and I'm sure attorney Mark Betterow has a tough schedule as well. So attorney Tim Bradle, attorney Mark Betterow, and Aidan Kearney were at the table yesterday. I tell you what, this judge gave so many mixed signals, but I wanted to hear a few little things, and I wanted to let the dust settle, and that's why I'm doing the reading here for you today. Got the usual suspects out on the table, and we're just gonna look to see what's gonna happen next, because this once the judge says, well, we want a jury, and then, well, we're gonna decide this, and well, I'm gonna keep an open mind. Okay, thanks, judge. We have the man card. This represents Aidan. Now, for those of you, I've never met Aidan. I wouldn't mind meeting Aidan one day if our paths crossed. And I am going to say this. I don't care what anybody thinks or how anyone feels. No one should be persecuted and prosecuted for reporting news. If it weren't for him, I would have never known about Karen Reed's case. And I think many are like that too. So this man's facing 105 years in jail for reporting on these people that don't want the truth to come out. That's the truth. Okay, so now I think we're going to start with this House of Zelda cards. We're going to ask angels, guides, spirits, what are we seeing here? Give us some foresight. Give us an idea. What is happening? Even Jennifer McCabe was brought up many times yesterday. Lindsay Catani. That fell over. Love is behind this. Yes. Yes. I believe that it may not have been love. I believe it may have been one of those side things. Lust, maybe. And I think it was on Lindsay Catani's part, and I think it was on Jennifer McCabe with John O'Keefe. Now, you all know how I feel about that, and that's not the reading. So, Jen is a fixer, and she feels that she has to fix everything. And now these new texts that have come out, look at this. That same card. Now, you saw me shuffling, so that means something. But with these texts coming out where she was orchestrating, you can see she's the orchestrator. She's the fixer. She was traveling to go find Aidan to purposely have him violate his bond. Now, I'm going to tell you something. That's raw, and that's wrong. And it's evil. It is totally evil for someone to set someone up like that. I'm sure Aidan didn't want anything to do with that thing. That person. Jennifer. Okay, we're going to put these to the point. To the point over here. Love is behind this, and I think there was some Lindsay Catani issues when she figured out she couldn't have Aidan the way she wanted him. It took a dark turn, and many times that happens. Travel, definitely. It's been traveling a lot, going to these courts, But also, Lindsay Gattani was also traveling with Jennifer McCabe and her group. You see, it's all about the timing, and I believe that because the timing in this is crucial. And it's time to look a little closer. And if you look a little closer at this card, this is actually a mirror. And what does a mirror do? Well, it reflects. It's time to reflect on things, look back over, but it also creates a portal. What does the portal do? Well, the portal can create another opening, another way to go through. Let's look at the crime cards. Let's look at the crime cards and see what comes out for 8. This was the last. There was a time when there was the last innocent moment. This is also a time when Aidan still, in my opinion now, has to look over his shoulder to a certain extent. Is he afraid? I don't think so, but I think he's concerned. And I would be too. He's not going to want to violate his bond. And I'm going to say this. Many of you may not like this statement, but I don't care. For those of you who are Turtleboy haters, I want you to think of his children. Think of his children. Try to extend your heart just a little bit for Aidan's children, who is going through, this is absolute hot place for them. This is hell for them to see this going on because their dad's doing what he feels is right. And it makes you wonder, our constitutional freedom, are we really free? This card, yes. Does it unnerve me? Yes, because it keeps coming out in these crime cases. Is this a crime case? Yes. In my opinion, it was not Aidan who committed the crime. And it's these others that are trying to cover it up. This is Aidan sitting, watching. Wow. What else do we need to know? You see the shadow behind there? This is what Jen McCabe, in my opinion, is trying to affect behind Aidan. It's that shadow. It's that voodoo doll energy. Although they don't work, do they, Jen? Better call Timu and get a refund. But this is that shadow energy. Now, can she send a dark shadow if she's working in the dark arts? Could be. Wouldn't put anything past her. I wouldn't put anything past any of them, in my opinion. But you see, there's paper, there's pen on the table, there's a light, and yet this shadow remains. It will remain until it's over. And no, it's not John O'Keefe. It's not that type of shadow. It's a dark shadow. And it's not Barnabas Collins. But it's a dark shadow. And it's one that can make you trip and fall. And I think Aidan knows that. We don't have to tell him. Look, there's the elixirs. At this point, you can either go on the right side or not go on the right side. It's that elixir. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Are those out there still believing that Karen did it? Are they still believing that poor little Jennifer has been intimidated by the big bad turtle? If so, you need to you need to take another look. Because sometimes people get just a little bit of information instead of the whole football field, and they tend to make their mind up in the first 15 minutes. You see, that's what research does. 2 cards came out. Very good. Now, this is the courtroom. This is a courtroom. And this is where the next step is. You leave the courtroom or you go on. So that is the courtroom, and you see the scales of justice there. So that happened yesterday. This, once again, more text messages and another spirit. Okay, so this is what this is telling me. There's going to be another person, another female, and it may be on Jennifer's side, that comes out and comes through these text messages, possibly sort of maybe kind of a stranger. Does that sound familiar? Because John told me there was a stranger there at 34 Fairview. He did not recognize this person. And I think they pull people in. They pull people in to try to help them. And then who knows what happens to them later. But there's a lady, there's a woman. Let's just say she's not in spirit. But right now, she appears to be in spirit because she hasn't manifested yet, but she will. And that could be the shadow behind Aidan. Oh, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? Let's take out some Kipper. And then I'm going to give you what I feel is about ready to come. Do I feel that Aidan will experience wealth? One day he will. And being under John, this is John's coffin. Being under that coffin, he was the beginning of the movement. Now, the lovers, information. You see these two birds right there? I'm going to hold my finger over a few little things that are going on there. And those two birds, have you ever heard the expression, a little birdie told me? Oh, there's more information that's getting ready to come out. The courtship, it's not really a courtship. It is all about the engagement in Aidan's case. Cosgrove should just walk away. He's got Granddaddy Dipper. That's what I call him. He's been called the Triple Dipper, but I call him Granddaddy Dipper. That's Cosgrove. Need to just step back and say, look. But, I think this is his last hurrah. And he wants to look at it that way. And he is a hero as far as the law office, so the DA's office is concerned. But I have a question for the legal beagles out there, and that is this. Lindsay Gattoni is not only suing Cosgrove, Granddaddy Dipper, but isn't she suing the DA's office as well? So if they replace Cosgrove to ask her questions if and when they put her on the stand for the defense, won't that create the same problem? Don't know. But there's something going to come through. Now, this isn't wealth, like we say. See, this is a number 11. That is a master number. It's a builder. It's a foundation. It's that person who owns the blueprint. And who is that? That's Aidan. Owns the blueprint to this whole thing. He knows a lot more, and he's not really able to say. But he will. There will be that day. Let's see. So I do believe there is another female. There is the dog. And the dog is all about loyalty, but it's also about unsuspected enemies. Aidan, if you see this, be cautious and be careful. Because I do feel someone may be trying to befriend you or has befriended you, but does not truly have your best interest in mind. Caution when it comes to that. Now, this is the man, and the fact that this gentleman comes out here, it's a significator card, comes out here beside the dog, better be careful, and I do feel that it is a man who may be pretending, maybe. Let's hope it doesn't happen. That's a time I'm going to pray that I'm wrong. This is now all about this success, a recognition, an honor of your labor, an honor that you've been able to come through with this. And this tree is all about fulfillment, highest hopes, good health even, good things coming. It's all about sustainability. It's all about hanging in there. And February 4th, my darlings, will be significant for Aidan in some way or fashion. I don't know. And one thing, he's sick of it. I would be too. There is a gift coming to Aidan of either more communication, something like that. More is coming. It looks like it might be coming from an agency. And it will literally start. Now, I'm going to say this carefully because I don't want anybody to misunderstand this. It will cause sickness in the case, not for anyone. Meaning the case will be crippled. It is already, but it's even going to be more. And then, of course, there will be happiness come about. I think Aidan will be isolating himself a little more than what he has been. There is fulfillment coming to him. But you see, there's this third-party interference from this male person. Be careful, Aidan. Be careful. Trust no one at this point. This is a separation here. And I believe it's a separation from a lot of people. Pardon the background noise. People are playing outside in the snow. But there's fulfillment regardless. If you may have a few little enemies in your camp. Caution. Caution is the word. I see the caution tape. I see the caution tape. Be careful. Be careful, Aidan. Look at that. There's the courthouse coming about. The number 7 is prevalent here because look, we have the number 7 and we've got a number 5 here. And I'm just going to say 5 is grace in biblical numerics. And it also can mean being on probation. And even though Aidan is not, he's on bond. So that can, because there's no, I don't have a card that says oopsie. I am going to get, gee, Zelda, do you think we need another deck? Yes, of course. Of course we do. This one reflects a lot. You'll see my camera. You might even see me with a ball cap on today. That's okay. We're going to ask now. Wisdom. Wisdom is definitely needed in this case. Now, here's what I'm saying. If this does go to a jury, because I do not think that Judge Belazos is going to be very favorable to Aidan. If this goes to a jury, they're going to find in the correct way. I just want you to know when this is all over and Aidan walks away from all of this, it will be the jackpot for him. That is where the money will be gained. Now, alongside of Karen, I feel that Aidan may, of course, he's got to follow his attorney's advice, file civil suits. Massachusetts, you better start getting your checkbook out. Aidan will be okay. Aidan's going to walk away, but there's that female that Jen McCabe has in the background. Careful, careful, careful. And then there's the male that is in Aidan's camp. Caution. But he's going to make it through. He's going to make it through. And Grandpa Dipper, well, I hope he retires and has a very lovely life. And he needs to see the truth. I'm hoping they don't try to bring a ringer in for this. It would be a little ridiculous. Thank you so much for watching. Be warm, be safe. I'll catch you next time.